0000. Again, 412-790-0000. Have a great weekend. We'll be here next week, and we hope you will be too, on Fire Your Financial Advisor with Greg Ayler.
Thanks for listening to Fire Your Financial Advisor with Greg Ayler. To learn more about getting the help you need to and through retirement, go to getyourroadmap.com.
We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Investment advisory services offered only through investment advisory representatives at Golden Reserve Retirement LLC, a registered investment advisor. Gregory Ayler does not provide investment advisory services nor insurance and annuity products. Insurance products offered through licensed professionals at Golden Reserve LLC, insurance licensed in Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, North Carolina, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Exposures to ideas and financial vehicles discussed are not designed nor intended to be applicable to any person's individual circumstances. It should not be considered as investment advice, nor does it constitute a recommendation that anyone engage in or refrain from a particular course of action. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Golden Reserve Retirement LLC, Golden Reserve LLC, Golden Reserve Tax LLC, and Ayler Stallings LLC are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Legal services offered by Ayler Stallings LLC. Tax services offered through Golden Reserve Tax LLC. The previous program is paid for by Golden Reserve.
As you near retirement, you may not have a savings problem, or an income problem, or a health problem. But in retirement, nearly everyone has a tax problem. Yet when you choose that financial advisor for help, you'll probably see in little tiny print on their website, "We do not offer legal or tax advice. You should consult with your own tax, legal, or accounting advisor before engaging in any transaction." It's basically saying if you want tax planning to be a part of your retirement plan, you need to go somewhere else. At Golden Reserve, we are that someone else. We've seen that gap in the industry. So we have attorneys, CPAs, and retirement planners all under one roof. Not only does every client get an IRA tax plan as part of your roadmap for retirement, but we'll also do your taxes each year and make sure your retirement plan is working in tandem with your tax plan. Come see the difference at Golden Reserve for your free roadmap today at getyourroadmap.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Golden Reserve. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
The preceding program was pre-recorded.
Mommy, how come I can't sit in the front seat?
Because I love you and you're just not ready yet.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
There's a world of opportunity out there, beyond the typical 9 to 5, where purpose and grit come together, where the American spirit and ingenuity are welcomed in places that could really use your skills and your experience. We're talking about the Peace Corps. With volunteers living and working in communities around the globe. And it's been called the toughest job you'll ever love. Tough, because it asks so much of you. To dig deeper, get your hands dirty, to go that extra mile, to rise to the occasion and meet challenges head on. And the love part comes from being part of something bigger than yourself. From building bonds that last a lifetime. It's knowing your hard work transformed lives, including your own. After 65 years, the Peace Corps is still the toughest job you'll ever love. Explore opportunities in more than 60 countries. Learn about benefits and apply at peacecorps.gov/serve.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
ABC News. I'm Dave Packer. Dangerous conditions fueling wildfires across the West. A state of emergency now in effect in Utah as more than a dozen fires burn out of control, including the Cottonwood Fire. It's now the most destructive fire in the state's history, burning more than 92,000 acres. Alyssa Mason's with the Great Basin Team 5 on the Cottonwood Fire.
The rate of spread was anywhere between 100 feet to 3,000 feet a minute.
The inferno is prompting mandatory evacuations, and officials are telling more people to have their go bags ready. From fire to rain, and too much of it in Kentucky, where water rescues are underway after flash flooding. Up to 7 inches of rain falling in some parts of the state. Governor Beshear said another round of severe storms is expected this evening.
This is a serious enough situation where I am now signing a state of emergency so that we can deploy even more resources across Kentucky.
To Venezuela, where neighbors and rescuers in Caracas are racing to find tens of thousands of people reported missing after back-to-back earthquakes. Officials say more than 1,400 people are dead, and that death toll is expected to climb. Caracas-based journalist Tony Frangi Mawad.
The situation is really dire. Right now, I'm actually talking from a relief center where we are preparing food for senior citizens that were moved from the wrecking sites in La Guaira, which is the most affected area, coastal town outside Caracas.
Peace talks to end the Iran war being threatened by a new flare-up of attacks in and around the Strait of Hormuz. And it gets complicated. CENTCOM says there were new U.S. attacks on Iran today. This after a U.S. official says a tanker was hit by an Iranian drone earlier today. Meanwhile, Iran launched attack drones at Bahrain today. Now this after the U.S. attacked Iran with strikes on missile and drone storage sites Friday. And the U.S. military says that was in retaliation for Iran firing on a cargo ship trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz just 24 hours earlier. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
The Flamingo Revolution continues in Albania. Protesters holding up plastic flamingos once again flooding the streets of the capital, calling for the resignation of their Prime Minister, Edi Rama, and cries for Albanians to join a unified action against a proposed coastal resort along the southern Adriatic Sea. The development said to be a project linked to Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law. Environmental advocates are opposed to the rapid development of the former communist nation's coast for high-end tourism. In Rome this weekend, to mark the 80th birthday of the little Italian scooter featured in many movies set in Italy, including classic Hollywood blockbusters, the largest gathering of Vespas ever.
Bringing his Vespa to the Italian capital to help celebrate David Bamondi.
We have a strong passion for Vespas. We watched Vespas in the movies, and we have 13 Vespas in Texas, and we wanted to ride our classic Vespa in Rome.
Abet Rana says back in the Philippines.
We know from on holiday and in the movie Luca, so all generations, from the old people to the young people, we all know Vespa.
Organizers say 10,000 Vespas are scooting about Rome.
ABC's Chuck Severson. A new blue chip on Monday. Google parent company Alphabet is officially replacing Verizon in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's a big milestone for the tech giant and will broaden the Dow's exposure to AI, cloud, and digital advertising. Dave Packer, ABC News.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
An evening shower, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 67. Partly sunny tomorrow with a couple of showers, high 81. It turns out clear tomorrow night with areas of fog developing, low 67. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Carr Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli.
There have certainly been some very interesting moments with the Penguins over the years. One group owed Mario Lemieux so much money that he turned that into owning the team. That was a tremendous stroke of luck for Mario, the Pens, and of course, the fans. So, what will this change of ownership mean as we transition from the Fenway Sports Group to the Hoffman family of companies? We've got two words: Mario Lemieux. While the Fenway Group left the Pens in a better place than when they took over, they somehow managed to upset the great Mario. Not good. The Hoffmans have rolled out the red carpet for Super Mario, and immediately, everything seems right with the world again. These are hockey people. Yes, they are business people, but they love hockey every bit as much as they love making money. Welcome back, Mario, and welcome to the Hoffman family of companies. This just feels right.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
What about my friends? My friends John and Rachel, who are normally here on a Saturday afternoon and evening. They ain't here, which means that I am here. As Michael Bartley has mentioned to you earlier today, or had mentioned to you, that's the proper tense of the verb. Shame on me for embarrassing my former English teachers. Had mentioned to you earlier on Saturday, it is I, Lenny McAllister, that is spending time with you for the next 3 hours at 866-391-1020. I always enjoy being here. I always enjoy taking your phone calls at 866-391-1020. And it's a rainy Saturday evening. Those of you that are going to the concert down at the Point, have fun, be safe, be soggy, but have fun. They are having a America 250 concert down there as we kick off the next 7 to 8 days of celebrations. That will be going on throughout the country. We can talk about that. I have a lot of different angles to come from. I feel like, among other things, this might be an opportunity to explain myself. They're not shots fired because I think it's friendly fire. I don't see it as being adversarial. But there's a couple of things I feel like I got to explain myself for, or I don't feel like I have to. I feel like I'm going to. Let me say it like that, because I'm not defensive. I like debate, so I'm not like all up in arms. But it's not every day where, I either walk into a social media conversation or walk into the studio and it's like, yeah, so-and-so was talking about you. Like, what? What did I do? And so there was actually 2 of those incidences over the last couple of days. So I'm going to get to that because I think it feeds into robust conversation. And with explanation, it provides an opportunity to kind of get into some things. So I will get to that in a little bit. One of which happened today, by the way. So it's not like these are things that happened 2 weeks ago. Some of this happened as recently as a couple hours ago. So I will get into that in just a second. First things first, before I go to commercial break. And again, phone lines open, 866-391-1020. This is the shift I used to have. Back in the day, during part one of me being here at KDKA, I would do either 2 to 5 or 5 to 8. At one point in time, there was a 6 to 10. And for those of you that are really old school, you know there used to be your live and local talk from 8 p.m. until midnight here on KDKA on Saturdays, which was just not a whole lot of fun. But I did that. So I'm not unfamiliar with Saturday evenings. As you well know, I often now do my show every Sunday from 2 to 6. So that's where I live these days, quote unquote. But I am not unfamiliar with Saturdays. That said, the first place I'm going to start is going to be with this documentary that released today. It was done by independent filmmaker William Hearn and his lovely wife and his team. And you can watch the film for free on YouTube. It is called The Impossible Dream, America's 250. And it basically asks the questions, and it goes after the question, is the American dream dead? And this is a guy that's a millennial, and he's a young guy that's already married. He is a young guy that is already married, already accomplished in life, in a lot of ways. Now, I'm not saying the ultimate accomplished, but I mean, he's impressive. He's talented. He's impressive. His wife's impressive. What he put together is impressive, and the stories he put together are impressive. How he weaved or wove or interwoven or interweavened, or, I'm messing up the verb on purpose at this point in time. He was able to take stories, make them interwoven in a way that makes sense, but goes after not only the question that people are asking today because they are frustrated with where America's going, but also reminds us of who we are and where we've come from over the years. Now, I bring this up primarily because, in 2026, I've had an awful lot of things going on in my life, one of which was the fact that I am featured in this documentary, The Impossible Dream, America's 250 by William Hearn. Go look for it. Go to 250film.com. It will take you to where you can see the film for free online live. I'm going to watch it. I've had a chance to see it. I'm looking at it right now. It is roughly 70 minutes long. I've already seen it, soup to nuts. We had a premiere up at Grove City College, and this is a former Grove City College student. I had an opportunity to see the full-length film in April. I gave a speech up there. We had an event that night. I was on a panel with Dr. Paul Kengor, who is a renowned historian, political science professor, Reagan biographer. It was Dr. Kengor, Will, and I on a panel talking about the film and talking about America 250 and the benefit of the film. So I've had a chance to see it. Obviously, I saw some of my own clips. I was part of the trailer, which I did not expect. That was kind of cool. And it's now out. So I encourage you all to go to 250film.com. It's by Awakened Films. And I enjoyed it. It's not done in a traditional way. The way the stories come together are not what you're used to seeing. I will say that. And even as I was watching it, I was trying to follow where Will was going as a filmmaker. And by the way, I'm going to be filling in on Thursday night, July 2nd, and during the day, July 3rd. He will be on with me July 3rd. So you'll get a chance to talk to him at 866-391-1020 and ask him questions. But I know that one of the things that I noticed was I was trying to follow where he was going as a filmmaker. I knew the premise of what he wanted to do because, that's how he reached out to me and that's how he interviewed me. I knew what the interview questions I had were. I didn't know what he was going to keep of mine. That's always interesting. When you do these things, it's always, what will the filmmaker keep? What will the interviewer keep? What's going to make the news clip? What's going to make, whatever package people put together? It's a little scary sometimes. Not with Will, but with other folks. It's like, okay, I gave you 10 minutes of things. Please don't take the 15 seconds of something that I said that can be construed any particular way. You didn't have to worry about that with Mr. Hearn, but I did, over the course of my career, there are times where you sit there and go, Arr. And this is not the first documentary that I've done, and I'll dive into that a little bit. And they all seem to be on the... They all seem to be along the lines or on the themes of civic engagement. Where are we going as a society? Where are we going as a culture? And I've done this over the course of, I've been involved now in, as a kid from Pinellas, it's kind of cool. I've been, I think, involved in 4 or 5 of them. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. I mean, if the calls are slow, 866-391-1020, if you want to call in with something, do that. I'm not going to have you call in and then talk about me. Maybe I will. No, I won't. But I will share not only William Hearn's documentary, but I will also just kind of tell you about how they string together with the ones I've done over the course of history. Then I'll get into the other 2 things as well. And meanwhile, I'll get to Ross and others after I come back from the break here on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for everything that's news. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Here's a World Soccer Championship recap.
Brought to you by Lowe's. Members get more at Lowe's. And by the first ever Infiniti QX65. Spots in the knockout rounds continued to fill up as France beat Norway 4-1. The French win Group I and will now face Sweden in the round of 32, while the Norwegians will take on Cote d'Ivoire. Senegal finished 3rd in the group after beating Iraq 5-0. Scoring 5 goals greatly helped their chance to move on to the round of 32 as well. I'm Fernando Carlos.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Are your property taxes too high? You have from July 1st until September 1st, 2026 to file an appeal of the Allegheny County property tax assessment. Contact Richard Ernsberger at the law firm Barrenden Ernsberger. Call 412-391-2515 for the help you need.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Where Pittsburgh comes to talk. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, let me go ahead and get to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Ross and Braddock, you're on KDKA.
Hey, I'm glad you're getting me out of the way because I just got out of my work clothes. I was up at the Highland Park today for a nice little picnic. Oh, I want to touch with some old business with you, since you say you don't want to talk about you. But I think if a caller wants to take 120 seconds to talk about you, I would hope you would let us.
I will let you. Yes, I will let you because the customer's always right.
I'll comment on that later, having done retail security. Old business. And this is the last time I'm bringing it up with you. You said you were going to check to see if anybody, and it would be flattering, but did anybody of your people remember my old nickname from high school?
Well, here's the thing. I misspoke. I know a couple of them that went to, one passed away. Another one that I thought went to Peabody went to Alderdice. So that only left me with one, and that one did not recognize the name.
Okay.
So I thought I had three living relatives that had gone to Peabody, and I had forgotten that one of them had unfortunately passed away. And then one that I thought went to Peabody, she reminded me, no, I went to Alderdice. I knew her sister went to Alderdice. I forgot she went to Alderdice as well. You know how those lines used to be back in the day. You can you sneeze and you fall into one catchment zone for a high school versus another.
Well, back in the 3 years I was there, 78 to 81, I was fairly noticeable. I mean, Alderdice and Peabody, they were very good rivals, and sports included. I helped out the basketball coach, with the videotaping the practices and sometimes the home games. I'd be up on the catwalk. Okay, that's done. Another piece of interesting little thing between us. I understand sometimes you get grief on your political leanings, and there are times when even I realized you dropped your bona fide eyes, depending on who's calling. Well, I'm a boy from Penn Hills. Well, I didn't. You remember Kresge's?
Crespies.
Krusties. It was Kresge's. It used to be on the corner before you are leaving East Hills and you go towards the McDonald's. Kresge's.
I remember. So hold on. I remember. So before you get to the McDonald's that used to be in the East Hills Shopping Center.
Right.
Okay. So there's
you're
that.
Going towards the McDonald's. The last big store, kind of to the left, was Kresge's, the base of Kmart.
That wasn't Kmart. No. That wasn't Kmart. So you go down. No. You go down to McDonald's.
The K in Kmart stands for Kresge's. They had a standalone store, and the whole name was Kresge's. This was before theirs.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you got to understand. You got to remember. You got me by. I graduated class of '89. Class of '89 from high school. I would not have remembered that. I remember Zares. I remember the Firestone. I remember the Giant Eagle. I remember the McDonald's. I remember the record store that was up there. We used to be able to ride our bikes and go to a record store up there. I remember.
Yeah, I've done that too.
The KFC that used to be up there. What else? And then across the street, there used to be a hardware store that was across the street. And then there used to be a PNB Bank before it became PNC. That used to have the drive-thru over there. In fact, that used to be a Mellon Bank before it was a PNC Bank. And yeah. But that I don't remember. I don't remember it being Kmart before it was theirs.
No. They're the head on the building, Kresge's. And then when they started branching out and building, they said, let's go with a K. I didn't mean to bring a history lesson, but there's a lot of stuff that rolls around in the old Captain Media's head. Now, I'll leave that nickname alone. One recent nickname I got was during the various Labor Day parades I would attend, and I'm trying to avoid talking about Trump, was what I called about. The various Labor Day parades I attend, and since our union group, is grouped with your union group, there's a lot of lively discussions before we all, take care of business in March. And that's why I said a few days ago, it was nice for a sad occasion when you lost a colleague to hear Barbara Boylan's voice on the radio.
Yeah.
We have had wonderful chit-chat, which brings me to 47. I'll be quick. Oh, also, I'm going to seriously try, only to call you on Sundays. I may skip tomorrow, but who knows? He gets away with things because he knows our court system. He plays the game so well, even when things are blatantly unconstitutional. He knows the process will delay, and he does things and enjoys and plays off of delay. The biggest, grandest example of this. Does the White House currently on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue have a east wing?
We're going to still say no. It's a broken wing. Take these broken wings. The quote a song from the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I wanted to brighten something. Here's a bright spot. Taking the Uber home from Highland Park was nice. There was a language barrier while I was on the phone. A lady chimed in and translated. I never had to go through that. Guy was very pleasant, got me here real quick. No issues. I think I will be using Uber service a little bit more often. At least I think get a little steadier on this walker. And don't let them chive you about your education. The way we learn things, how you learned at your table and whose knee, take advantage of the fact that if you're in a book that you have credibility and you say reluctantly, well, I was wrong. I didn't know that's how for example, in 2000, what's this electoral college? Remember all the rub where people didn't know what that was all about?
Yeah.
And then so look, like I said to Michael, be of age for voting, be American citizen, all the things that qualify, and be an informed voter. That's all we got.
That's all you can do. Hey, child of God, you have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm glad that you are healing up. You sound stronger every time you call in, so I appreciate you calling in. Continue to do the good work that you're doing. In the meanwhile, for those of you that would like to call in and vibe with me for a little bit, 866-391-1020, go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to the news, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this 250 film that I was talking about earlier and the two things that came up over the week. And now, of course, detour and take phone calls at 866-391-1020, but of course, after the news on News Radio KDKA.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. The 9 a.m. staff meeting? How about breakfast burritos and lots of coffee? Big client presentation at noon? Let's do Mediterranean bowls. Accounting's gotta work late. Keep them pepped up with spicy noodles. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
When you call yourself the voice of Pittsburgh, you have to know when to not talk. Sometimes you just need to be the ears of Pittsburgh. Just listen. Listen to what you have to say. These are complicated and uncertain times. But when you need us, we're here for you. And we're listening. A trusted source that you can count on to be here. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Dry tinderbox conditions fueling wildfires across the West. State of emergency in Utah as more than a dozen fires burn out of control, including the Cottonwood Fire, burning more than 92,000 acres. Meanwhile, water rescues in Kentucky, where torrential rains brought flash flooding, up to 7 inches of rain falling in some parts of the state. Governor Beshear said another round of severe storms is expected this evening.
When it gets dark, it's going to get even worse, so please do not drive after dark if you can avoid it.
To Venezuela, where neighbors and rescuers in Caracas are racing to find tens of thousands of people reported missing after back-to-back earthquakes. Officials say more than 1,400 people are dead, and the death toll is expected to climb. A flare-up of attacks in and around the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says there were new attacks from the U.S. on Iran this afternoon, and this after a U.S. official says a tanker was hit by an Iranian drone earlier today. This is ABC News.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market Team when they discuss favorite burger recipes. It's the Coons Cooking Hour presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
As parents, we have a million things running through our minds. Playdates, checkups, groceries, laundry, diapers, work, carpool schedules, picture day, swim team, did we mention diapers, birthday parties, meal prep, lost permission slips, dentist appointments, and the dog that still needs to be walked. So it's easy to make a mistake. Oh, I forgot birthday candles. Sit tight, hon, I'll be right back. We say we'd never put our kids in danger by leaving them in the car alone. Oh, wait, since when are candles not on the baking aisle? But never happens. And temperatures as low as 60 degrees can be deadly for children left behind. So always bring them with you, and every time you park the car, stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate, 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate, 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I pushed through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A shower around early, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 67. Clouds and sunshine tomorrow with a shower or two, high 81. Clear tomorrow night with areas of fog developing, low 67. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Carl Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, I'll be back in Monday. Yep, on the morning show, Big K Morning Show. Colin Dunlap with you Monday morning. Can't wait to start the week off right. 5:40 until 10 a.m. on Monday, right here, KDK.
So, a little bit of a change because Larry's going to be out this week. But that doesn't mean that I will not be on the Big K Morning Show. I will be on with Colin Dunlap Monday morning, 8 a.m., vibing with him. I was actually on his show earlier this week. Hat tip to him for the invite and allowing me to come on. I appreciated doing that. Twofold with that. Number one, we talked about the book, A Venn Diagram of One, my book that you can find more about on LennyMcAllister.com. You can go pre-order the book right now, and I would encourage those of you to do that. You can pre-order the ebook, or you can pre-order the hardcover, depending on how you want to read the book. Again, you can do that BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com. You can pre-order the book through Target, through Walmart, through Books A Million, wherever books are sold. The book hits shelves August 11th. Colin was kind enough to have me come on earlier this week on his show, but he's filling in this week for Larry, but I will still be on the Big K Morning Show 8 to 9. He had me on about the book, A Venn Diagram of One. He mentioned me about something else. I'll get into that later because it will tie into other things. It's funny because this is the epitome of how being a Venn diagram works, because the critique / disagreement that Colin had with me probably came more from the right. Not that it was an ideological argument, but it probably would be classified, if you had to classify it politically, as being more from the right. And then subsequently, there's another critique that came at me earlier today that I know came from the left. And I don't mind explaining these positions. I think actually it's fun and I think it's needed. It's more needed in America than it has been in a very long time, and most people are not really adept at doing it. They're more adept at doing stuff like, you suck, than actually articulating a point of view. Even though you suck is a point of view, it's just not very eloquent or detailed or, optimistic, building, informative, or anything else that you need in a democratic republic where you need an educated electorate to get things done. That said, I'll get to those later because I'm here until 9. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020, I did want to get to the Impossible Dream movie first. 250film.com. Go and check it out. I did write about it in the book, and I do want to I want to bring it up because we're approaching July 4th a week from today. And I got some pretty cool things going on around July 4th. I did mention the New York Post article, and I'll get into that in a little bit as well. That's coming out on Thursday, so that'll be kind of interesting. I can actually, it's embargoed until Thursday. I can actually read more of the excerpts from that and get your feedback on it. Ideally, you will have gone to NewYorkPost.com and read it, and those of you in New York will have gotten your own copy of it up there. I'm hoping that my wonderful son up there grabs me one. It will be part of the commemorative edition of the New York Post on the 2nd, so that'd be kind of cool. But that said, I want to get into the 250 film, The Impossible Dream. So I did write about it in a Venn diagram of one. It's towards the end of the book, and I mention in one of the chapters, and I'm going to read this to you because I want to get your perspective on it. As filmmakers of Awakened Films heard during the recording of The Impossible Dream, a documentary that pauses at the reflection point of USA 250, nearly half of us think that the dream is dead. I told them something different. I don't think it's dead. I think it's just waiting for us to wake up. I told them, we think about the red, white, and blue. We don't talk about the blood, sweat, and tears it takes to make our nation a home. We talk about the red, white, and blue. We don't talk about the blood, sweat, and tears it takes to make our nation our home. Americans, in the instability of recent years, ask, are we still bold enough? I quoted Benjamin Franklin. We have a republic if we're bold enough to keep it. I asked Americans, are we bold enough? And I say proudly and confidently, yes, we are. We have the history, the resources, and the talents necessary to keep our republic constitutionally strong and our people fulfilled. Those things matter. We need them to fix the brokenness that many of today's leaders have infused into governing. But we, the people, matter more. We drive or condone the tone of politics and the demeanor of politics in our policies. And it goes on from there. I know that the numbers are down. And this is what's really sad about where we are in America during America 250. We're not really celebrating 250 years of America being what America has been. Good, bad, and ugly. Mostly good. A lot of trials and tribulations to get through. But because of the angst, the political angst, the economic angst, the bickering culturally and the like, the fact that people find civic and political wins in bashing others. One of the things I talk about a lot in the book is the fact that we do not push for empowerment of all Americans anymore. We push for power over Americans. Our constitutional form of government is supposed to create a system where people can find self-empowerment. They can find the educational paths. They can find economic opportunities to build a way for themselves and for their families. Instead, it's all about who's in power, and whoever gets in power gets to whack the other people. If they can gerrymander maps to get rid of even more of their quote-unquote enemies, they do it. They create policies that will limit the power of the minority. They try to give advantages to their friends and crush their foes. This system wasn't built for that. Literally before the Constitution was passed, there's nothing but all kind of rhetoric going back and forth about how do we counteract one factions of ambitions and goals and drives and momentum to make sure it doesn't go so far one way that it can never find balance. That as this country that grows, they're capable of growing in a way that different power bases, different power centers, different gravities, or different centers of gravity, I should say, are able to crop up, develop, counteract against each other. All for the purpose of making the whole country stronger and better. I know that we don't do that well anymore. We don't do that well as a country. We don't do that well in most of our states. We don't do that in many of our cities, if not most of our cities. We don't believe in balance. We don't believe in temperance. We don't believe in working with non-traditional allies. Heck, we had a bipartisan bill that came out of Capitol Hill this week, and the president was like, a bipartisan win for my party? Pfft, please. No, I want to fight. Fight, I tell you. I mean, and so I get it. I know. But it still doesn't have to stay that way. I don't believe it's going to stay that way. And maybe I'm naive, and that's, that kind of goes into one of the things I want to bring up. The whole, why are you still Republican? Well, it's in my book. It's in a Venn diagram of one. It's in how I wrote the book. It doesn't explain why I'm Republican, but it explains who I am and how that lines up with being a Republican, but how that lines up with being, a person that has a civil rights perspective on things and can work in urban environments and can work with Republicans and can work across the aisle and can bring about nonpartisan / bipartisan solutions. But we don't talk about America in a proud sense anymore because we're so busy talking about partisanship. We're stuck on partisanship. And so we're 1 week outside of America 250, where we should have wild celebrations, a whole bunch of people feeling good about being American. We should be almost vomiting red, white, and blue in some regards. Now, I would love for us to have that pride in the red, white, and blue and live up to the values. But right now, we have neither. There's not a whole lot of celebrations, not akin to what I remember from 1976. And just the same, that sense of patriotism has been hijacked as a partisan value, not an American civic value. And that's sad. Do I think that's going to stay that way? No. Do I think we're missing a huge opportunity now? Yes. And it's something we need to really look at as a symptom of how to turn things around. And I think that Will's film talks about that. I'm going to dive a little bit more into what the film, I think, does from a positive sense. And then I'll dive into the other two things that I was talking about. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020, if you want to chime in with anything else, call in. Otherwise, if it's a rainy Saturday afternoon and you just find yourself wanting to just listen, it's okay. You can do that. I'm here for that. I'm here until 9. Lenny McAllister filling in for the Jagoffs on News Radio KDKA.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
As parents, we have a million things running through our minds. Playdates, checkups, groceries, laundry, diapers, work, carpool schedules, picture day, swim team, did we mention diapers, birthday parties, meal prep, lost permission slips, dentist appointments, and the dog that still needs to be walked. So it's easy to make a mistake. Oh, I forgot birthday candles. Sit tight, hon, I'll be right back. We say we'd never put our kids in danger by leaving them in the car alone. Oh, wait, since when are candles not on the baking aisle? But never happens. And temperatures as low as 60 degrees can be deadly for children left behind. So always bring them with you, and every time you park the car, stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
You have some dough. It's lunchtime, but there's no way you would eat just dough for lunch, right? Well, the good thing is, I have some cheese. Your friend has some tomato sauce. This random guy on the street has pepperoni in his backpack. If we bring all these ingredients together, we end up with something much better than any of them alone. A savory pizza for lunch. But each of us has not only different ingredients, but also different opinions coming from our different life experiences. If we bring all these experiences and all these opinions together in friendly, civil conversation, we end up with opinions and ideas that are better than any of our individual opinions before. So if we want to come up with better ideas for a better world, what we really need are civil, civic conversations. Pizzas. It's an American thing. AmericanThing.org.
The 50,000-watt voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, so let's talk about the things that are not good about the mood of the nation around America 250. And it is different because there's a certain level of nonpartisan patriotism that just is not existing right now. And it's not just because the economy is acting weird and we're having international conflict and everything else. Because after 1976, it was right after the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War only officially ended in 1975. And we weren't, July of 76, we weren't 2 full years after the resignation of Nixon. And the dude that gave him a pardon immediately, pretty much, he was running for re-election and basically fighting for his life against an upstart from California who he ended up beating and was going to run against a pretty much relatively unknown dude with a southern accent from Georgia. Americans believed that our best years were behind us. You had the OPEC issues going on. You had détente with the Soviet Union. America was exhausted after the Civil Rights Movement and after everybody seemed to have gotten shot in the 1960s. You go look it up. There was a lot of violence, as you well know, in the 1960s. But my point is this. There was still a level of optimism that came about because we put certain things aside for a period of time to celebrate America. And everybody could find their own American story within what we were. No one seems to be looking for that this year. Now, selfishly, one of the reasons why I wanted a Venn diagram of one, an American story, to come out this year is because I saw that a lot of people were not celebrating our country that way. And I felt like my personal story and my personal journey could be a reflection of that. A reflection of you can go through hard first acts. You can go through hiccups, civically, professionally, personally, politically, and the like, and you can still find success. You can still find joy. You can still find self-fulfillment. And in addition to my own, I talked about others, whether it's people that I knew or people that we all know. And talked about how we can leverage those and find hope starting in 2026 to move past where we are, which is a lot of division, a lot of yelling in echo chambers, a lot of, stinking thinking, as people like to say. Sitting in silos and not breaking out of the silos that keep us held back, that make younger generations believe they're never going to buy a home, that the free market system of enterprise, that capitalism is just a ruse to let rich people get richer, not a way for people to build their lives. And to be fair, if we don't enact policies that allow them to see that capitalism can be a builder for everybody, not just a K-shaped economy where the rich get richer and everybody else struggles, that's on us as Americans. Our civic duty is to show that the American dream is viable, not to just sit here and talk about it. The cool thing about Will's film, and I'll say this and I'm going to news, is the fact that Will talks about different types of American stories, from people that escaped communism to people that had to find their American dream after angst and tragedy in America. And they still found a way to believe and then found a different path. That is quintessentially American. So his film is not a whole bunch of Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. It really leverages neighbors that you know. First-generation Americans, people that had to flee war-torn Europe not that long ago. That is when the impossible dream still is viable even today. So kudos to Will Hearn. Go to 250film.com. Go into the news. Coming back here, hour number 2 on News Radio KDKA.
Don't miss the Pittsburgh Music Festival, July 11th and 12th at Pittsburgh Brewing Company in Creighton, featuring Joe Grishecki and the House Rockers, Billy Price Band, Norman Nardini, The Gathering Field, and more. Benefiting Band Together Pittsburgh and Autism Pittsburgh. Presented by Pittsburgh Brewing Company and U.S. Steel. Tickets at pittsburghmusicfestival.com.
Join Rob Pratt every Sunday at 11 a.m. for Black and Gold Sunday, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer. Rob keeps you posted on Pittsburgh sports with 2 hours of exciting talk. That's Black and Gold Sunday, 11 to 1, presented each week by Coons Market.
Get connected. That's the Inside Connection this Saturday morning at 9 with your local Medicare experts from MediConnect. If you're turning 65, hear all the inside information available to seniors on the Inside Connection, presented by MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Warnings in the West as the largest wildfire in the country grows. A state of emergency in Utah as the Cottonwood fires, now 92,000 acres. Meanwhile, 2 other wildfires have now merged into one. ABC's Melissa Adon has the latest.
Southwest of Salt Lake City, the Maple Peak and Cherry fires merging into one, burning over 30,000 acres. Firefighters making progress on the Iron Fire, which has scorched more than 40,000 acres. Officials say there are no deaths or injuries, crediting first responders for the evacuation efforts.
To Kentucky and the widespread flooding there that's being blamed for at least 4 deaths. Governor Andy Beshear declaring a state of emergency today. Bullitt County Emergency Management Director John Waters urging drivers to avoid flooded roads because they could be deadly.
Turn around, don't drown. That's a big thing. We had a lot of reports of water rescues. Because people were trying to brave it and drive it through the water. You can't tell how deep the water is whenever you're sitting in your car.
U.S. search and rescue teams are now on the ground in Venezuela after back-to-back quakes. The death toll now surpassing 1,400.
A UN official saying there are likely 50,000 unaccounted for as the death toll continues to rise. Venezuelan soccer player Hector Bello sharing his wife Andrea died in the quake trying to protect their daughter who was rescued. Bello writing, "How do I explain to your daughter that you lost your life to save hers?"
ABC's Marcus Moore. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the new framework for a deal between Israel and Lebanon was historic and that it means the U.S. and Lebanon recognize Israel's right to hold the security strip, referring to the land that Israel occupies in southern Lebanon, as long as there is a threat, he said. While visiting the Israeli border town of Metula, Amir Raz said he doubts the Lebanon government can keep Iran-backed Hezbollah in check in southern Lebanon.
We should keep it as long as we need to keep it, or maybe as long as we will be allowed to keep it.
You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
Rumors of a teen takeover plot shuttered an entire shopping center. Westland Plaza in Jacksonville, Florida suddenly closed 7 hours earlier than usual on Friday. Small business owners in the shopping center say they took a hit financially. Barbara Thorpe co-owns Wicked Batter Cafe.
It's one of our busiest days of the week, so it is a hit and it's not fun, and especially as a small business.
While sympathetic, the property manager for Westland Plaza said safety for visitors and tenants comes first. The FDA has approved a new treatment option for one of the most aggressive forms of breast cancer. ABC's Morgan Norwood.
The drug is called Trodelvy, and you may recognize it because it's not entirely new. This is an approval as a frontline treatment for metastatic triple-negative breast cancer. And up until now, this approval has been offered after other treatments have failed. Trodelvy is a targeted treatment, and in clinical trials, it looked pretty good. It kept cancer from growing and spreading longer than standard chemo.
A retirement party for Schlitz Beer in Wisconsin today. Live music, food, and sales of what was once the top-selling beer in the U.S. Wisconsin Brewing Company brewmaster Kirby Nelson.
This beer, as it is right now, was post-World War II. We were really feeling our oats as a nation.
He says the last chance to get your hands on it will be at Old World Wisconsin Museum on the 4th of July. In Texas, the FAA investigating a video posted on X showing a Boeing 777 making a low pass over a private airport just 25 feet from the ground. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
An evening shower, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 67. Partly sunny tomorrow with a couple of showers, high 81. It turns out clear tomorrow night with areas of fog developing, low 67. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Carr Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The 50,000-watt voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
So, Lenny McAllister filling in for John and Rachel on a Saturday night. I will be here. I'll be here a lot. I will be here a lot over the next couple of days. I will be here tomorrow for my show, 2 to 6. I will be here Monday on the Big K Morning Show. Colin Dunlap is going to be filling in for Larry Richard, but I will still be here from 8 to 9 on Monday. I will be filling in Thursday night from 6 to 10, and that will be interesting because I'll be able to get some feedback on the New York Times piece that I have submitted that will be published as part of their commemorative edition. So the New York Times, again, I know I say it, and it sounds like I'm being facetious. I'm not. I'm not unaware of the things that I've done in my career. I do say I'm a kid from Pittsburgh, Penn Hills. I am part of the Mark Drive family. That is who I am. I will never stop being that. I'm also not unaware of the different things that I have had an opportunity to do in my career, and I take them seriously. I do not take them lightly. I do not push it aside. So, with that said, when I do things such as talk about the New York Times piece, and I recognize that it is a newspaper that was founded by Alexander Hamilton, and I recognize that it's the third largest daily circulation in the United States to this day, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to write about it and to be part of the America 250 celebration and the commemorative edition and to be part of the cardstock printout and to have my article printed and to have my book listed as part of that printout, a Venn diagram of one. If nothing else, it's cool for my grandkids and my great-grandkids. I'm at an age where I don't impress my kids anymore. So that's, I've given up on that one. But the grandkids and the great-grandkids might think it's cool. I don't take it lightly. So when I say that, I don't want people to think I'm just being, false humility or being facetious with it. I am not. But I am looking forward to getting feedback on Thursday night about what people think about what I wrote. I can't really comment on it quite yet because it's embargoed. We sent out a press release earlier. That's what led to me being on Colin's show earlier this week. Now, there was two parts of that because Colin had a comment on something that I said, and I will get to that in a little bit. But I will be here Thursday. I will talk about the New York Times commemorative article, me being one of several that will be published in the Post. I'll be here Friday on July 3rd. I'll talk to Will Hearn about the Impossible Dream film then as well. And I will not be here on the 4th. But I will be here multiple times this week just talking about different things. I'm going to get to what Colin, I commented on something that he said based on something that I had said. I will get to that in a second. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020, I'm going to get to the phones. Dick in Dayton. Hello, kind sir. You're on KDK.
Hey, buddy. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing well, child of God. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got with my friends yesterday, and we had a little session playing a lot like Nashville, but I went shopping with my friends today, so I stopped at the Goodwill, and I found some shirts, and I found some country CDs, and they had some out by the mall. They had a couple flags, and I stopped at the store to get them for the tradition of 4th of July. What you think, buddy?
I think that's good, Dick. Let me tell you something about the Goodwill. It's ironic you would bring that up because people don't realize there was a time I would go on national television and I would wear ties and sometimes shirts, not that often shirts, but really ties from Goodwill.
Yeah.
And nobody knew the difference. And, some of probably my best television hits are with a little $2 tie from Goodwill and a $7 shirt from Burlington. And so what we used to tell my kids is, it's the quality of what you do and who you are. It's not necessarily what you buy and how much you paid for it. And, people have a tendency to look down on folks that might go to a Goodwill to get something. But the bottom line is, if you have the resources and then you have the imagination, you can do anything with anything. If you're able to flip it the right way. So it kind of brought that memory up to me. Don't mind me.
Well, you have a good night. Good to talk to you.
Hey, Dick, you keep up playing that wonderful music, man. It's always good to hear your voice. So thank you, kind sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, there was, and I talk about it in the book too. I mean, there was a time I used to walk a lot, not for exercise either. I mean, I'll exercise, of course, but I would walk a lot, not for exercise. And during those days, it was a lot of, $2 ties and $5 shirts, and then still going on prime time. And you just got to have that belief. That's the epitome of America as well. You cobble together 2 and 3 jobs. Take those next steps. Now, I'm going to say this before I go back to the phones. You're not supposed to have to cobble 2 and 3 jobs together for 30 years. If that's the case, your economy is broken. Your American dream needs to be fixed. I don't want people out there at 866-391-1020 believing that what I'm saying is, hey, you're 37 years old. You should work 3 jobs that are only paying you $10 an hour. That's how you get your $30 an hour. You should do that for 30 years. No. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is sometimes in the pursuit of happiness, you may have to do that. That is supposed to be for a season, not permanent. And it is the job of policymakers to create opportunities so that that season can lead to a harvest and that harvest can lead to a better way of life where you're contributing more to the American society. And as a result, you're more fulfilled and your communities are benefiting more from your fulfillment. So, yeah, I believe in working hard. I don't believe in people driving themselves into the ground, into early graves. Anywhere throughout the globe, but particularly and especially here in America. So I just needed to say that because I know that there will be some people that will sit there and say, oh, what you're trying to say is that it's okay to work 3 and 4 jobs for 30 years. No, it's not. That's a failure of our economy. You're supposed to be able to build. And honestly, even from a business model, I don't want entry-level people being entry-level for 15 years. I am hoping that they master entry-level jobs and move up to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, management, upper management, senior management. Help me make more money. Help me build out a new business. Take your experiences from 12 years ago and figure out a way where we can double profits, where we can hire 500 more people. Those are the things we're supposed to be able to do. One should tie into the other. 866-391-1020. I will get to Scott, Bishop, Ted later. Ironically, the thing with Bishop kind of ties into one of the two things I wanted to talk about. So I'll throw it out there. Just why not? Before I go to break. One portion was I made a comment on Monday with Larry, I do believe, talking about the violence in Chicago. And there was over 30 shootings and several dead. And of course, Trump said, I'm going to send the National Guard. And I said, that's not going to work. It sounds great. And I'll get more into it. But I will say this. And by the way, this is not the first time somebody said, I'll send the National Guard to Chicago. I've heard some black people say, you should send a National Guard to Chicago. In its current format, it would not work. You would be more inclined to get a bloodbath in Chicago than you would to get a level of peace in Chicago. Now, I didn't have a chance to explain that on Monday. So that little bit of a soundbite, Colin overheard someplace, and Colin pushed back. Now, Colin didn't push back out of any type of animosity or being nasty or being mean or being, I know where some of you all go. Yeah, that Colin Dunlap is racist. No, Colin wasn't saying it because he's racist. It had nothing to do with that. It was a difference of opinion. So stop it. Don't even go there. Just stop. Road's closed. Turn around. But he disagreed with me, and I didn't have a chance to fulfill why I say that's wrong. And I say that, by the way, I say that approach with this administration at this time, and actually 3 administrations, and I'll get into that further when I have a chance. Why it would be wrong with 3 administrations in the mix. Why it wouldn't provide the intended results if you sent the National Guard to the south and the west side of Chicago in 2026. I didn't get a chance to explain that. I have time. I have 3 phone calls. I'll get to the phone calls first. But I would like to talk about that because it's well thought out, and it's well thought out as somebody that lived on the south side of Chicago, which is some of you all. I mean, I saw some of the comments online. There are people just popping off. Ironically, somebody said, Lenny's a typical Democrat. My theme song is March of the Black Republican. I feel like a black Republican. The other issue I want to talk about is somebody, the critique of still being a Republican. So here I am being a Democrat, but also being a Republican. Stop that too. But my issue with the National Guard is spoken as somebody that lived on the south side of Chicago, worked on those issues on the south side of Chicago, understand the fabric that was there at least years ago when I was there. Many of those things haven't changed, by the way. I've been to Chicago over the last 2 years. Some of it's the same exact way because those things are embedded there. So you're not going to resolve long-standing issues with short-term actions. And I can get into that, and I will. The other issue, of course, is the whole Republican thing. Staying in the GOP, leaving the GOP, MAGA versus Republican, and all that other jazz, and why I am who I am. And again, I mentioned that. I talk about that in the book. I give my perspective long form for the first time ever. I mean, I do it sometimes on the radio, but usually there are phone calls at 866-391-1020, or you're doing hits, and it's not the same. 7 minutes at a time is not the same as a full-fledged book with a thought-out idea and life mantra that's on paper. But I want to dive into that as well, because that's also well-reasoned. And by the way, both of the perspectives, the Chicago National Guard and the Republican thing, have basically been proven out over time. You know, you may not think I'm completely right, but I'm certainly not proven to be wrong per se. But I'll talk about that after the break and then after the phone calls here on the one and only News Radio KDKA.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
I'm with Joe Potocznik, JP Roofing and Siding, with an exciting opportunity.
Normally, Larry, we offer $500 off any complete roofing and siding replacements. For our spring promotion, we're offering an additional $500 off.
Joe, that's $1,000.
That's right, Larry.
You better call today. The roofing experts, JP Roofing and Siding, 412-829-7711, 412-829-7711. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Larry.
For 250 years, America has been more than a place. It's been a promise, a story of courage, hope, and dreams. And through it all, local TV and radio broadcasters have been there, telling the story of America, bringing truth to light. Broadcasters tell the story of who we are and who we aspire to be. We are America's storytellers. We are broadcasters. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEBNOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
This is attorney Ed Shenderovich. Have you been injured because of someone else's fault? Want to find out what your case is worth? Visit 98twins.com for a free evaluation. At Shenderovich, and Fishman, we've got your back, not your wallet.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, let me go ahead and get to the phone lines. Let me get to Scott first. Scott, you were on KDK.
Thank you for taking my call, sir. I'd like to discuss the Iran war. Very upset about it. Trump has no business being there, but I know why he's there. He's there because of AIPAC, other powerful Zionist and Jewish groups that are forcing his hand. Look, all of our congressmen, sir, are all bought and paid for by AIPAC, Zionist, and Jewish groups. You've got this Adelson woman, Kushner is a Zionist son-in-law. The amount of Jewish and Zionist influence in the United States is so tremendous. The Jews literally control our nation.
Hold on, Scott. They do not control our nation. There are plenty of people. No, Scott. No, and part of that is a trope. Part of that is Scott. I'm trying to give you a little bit of rope to kind of, or a little bit of room, not rope, a little bit of room.
Right.
To kind of back out of this, because you know as well as I do, that is a trope. The Jews control everything, and they're manipulating things behind the scenes, and yada yada. That goes down that path. I'm not doing that. Now, are you going to make the argument that they have an influence on our foreign policy? Of course they do, but I can name that about other factions as well. I can name factions domestically that have an influence on how we do things domestically, how they have driven things too far to the right or too far to the left. That we can entertain that. But to sit there and say they control everything, they're the puppeteers behind the scenes, we've heard this for 100 years, and it led to World War II. So
listen,
I don't want to do that.
All I'm saying is no other group in the United States, there's 6 million Jews, 2% of the population, no other group, race of people wields the kind of enormous power that American Jewry...
I'm done. I'm not. It's not the Jews, it's the nation of Israel. So once you take it out of that context, you no longer are talking about people from a religious group. You're talking about a nation and our alliance with a nation, secularly, which is much different than the argument that we usually hear when it comes down to the Jews. That always goes back to a people, which then goes down the path of the trope that I was talking about. You know, I mean, we can make the argument domestically. You know, those people, it's Pride Month, and those gay people are trying to destroy America, and they control everything in the media, and blah, blah. Fill in the blank. Those black people are trying to shove DEI down our throats. They're making people be ashamed to be white. We heard that from Erica Kirk. Don't be ashamed to be a white man, regardless of what America tells you or what the media tells you. No one's trying to make white men ashamed of being white men. Not here. I believe that the D in diversity means diversity, not diversity except for you and maybe you. It's not how it works. So appreciate your phone call. Love you as a child of God. Not entertaining that. Not wanting to do that. That said, 866-391-1020. Man, I got 4. They're not of a kind, but they're really, really, they're trump cards. No pun intended, Craig. Don't get mad. It's a double entendre. But I do have Bishop, Anthony, Ted, Craig on the line. Coming from different angles. I will talk to all those angles after the news on News Radio KDKA.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Lowe's. Save more on what you need to get the job done right. Right now at Lowe's. Get 15% off select custom entry and interior doors. Plus, save $80 on the DeWalt 20-volt Max 2-tool combo kit. Now just $169. And at the Lowe's Pro Desk, bring us your materials list and get a quote in minutes. Handwritten, a photo, or even a sticky note is all you need. Keep your jobs moving faster and on budget at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Colin Dunlap on KDKA.
Okay, gas station heroin. So you hear that and you go, all right, that ain't good. Gas station heroin. A near unanimous vote, 200-2. It's legally prescribed as an antidepressant in some countries. It's federally unregulated in America. Think about that.
Weekdays 2 to 6 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Mommy, how come I can't sit in the front seat?
Because I love you and you're just not ready yet.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Widespread flash flooding in Kentucky. It's being blamed for at least 4 deaths. Governor Andy Beshear declaring a state of emergency today.
We've seen 6 to 7 inches of rain in some parts of our Commonwealth, which has created dangerous conditions, flash floods, and I need you to be careful.
State of emergency in Utah as the cottonwood fires now 92,000 acres. Meanwhile, 2 other wildfires southwest of Salt Lake City have merged into one. U.S. search and rescue teams on the ground in Venezuela after back-to-back quakes. The death toll now surpassing 1,400. A UN official saying there are likely 50,000 unaccounted for. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the new framework for a deal between Israel and Lebanon was, quote, historic, and its message to Iran is, quote, you're out of the game. On the current Iranian talks, Netanyahu said he'll send a delegation to Washington to clarify Israel's security interests on the nuclear issue. This is ABC News.
Ms. Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow. Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
Summer's here, and so are the savings at La China Drapery and Blind Factory. It's the perfect time to refresh your home with custom draperies, blinds, shades, shutters, and upholstery. La China doesn't just sell their beautiful custom products, they make them right in La China's own factory. That means low factory direct prices, expert measurement, and installation. La China quality from start to finish. Visit La China's 2 showrooms or have them come to your home. Call 412-665-4900 or visit lachinadrapery.com.
There's a world of opportunity out there, beyond the typical 9 to 5, where purpose and grit come together, where the American spirit and ingenuity are welcomed in places that could really use your skills and your experience. We're talking about the Peace Corps, with volunteers living and working in communities around the globe. And it's been called the toughest job you'll ever love. Tough, because it asks so much of you. To dig deeper, get your hands dirty, to go that extra mile, to rise to the occasion and meet challenges head on. And the love part comes from being part of something bigger than yourself, from building bonds that last a lifetime. It's knowing your hard work transformed lives, including your own. After 65 years, the Peace Corps is still the toughest job you'll ever love. Explore opportunities in more than 60 countries. Learn about benefits and apply at peacecorps.gov/serve.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A shower around early, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 67. Clouds and sunshine tomorrow with a shower or two, high 81. Clear tomorrow night with areas of fog developing, low 67. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Carl Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, I'll be back in Monday. Yep, on the morning show, Big K Morning Show. Colin Dunlap with you Monday morning. Can't wait to start the week off right. 5:40 until 10 a.m. on Monday, right here, KDK.
All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of a risk. And here's the risk I'm going to take. The risk I'm going to take is that all four of the people are going to have eloquent points that I may or may not agree with. I'm going to try my best to take them in an order so that I can have an extended conversation, in part because I know at least two of the topics may go sideways where we're going to have a little bit of just shared ideas, whether we agree or disagree with them. So I'm breaking radio protocol. I'm just telling people now because I want to be able to provide that, because part of it is I talked about the Chicago violence. I talked about the GOP. I got a little bit of a tip of what's been going on with some of this because this stuff boiled over the last couple of weeks. So I got name checked. So, Mr. McAllister, because your name was mentioned in the last answer, you have 30 seconds to respond. If this were a debate, that's what would happen. So I'm trying to do that in a way where I can explain without doing what people do in debates, which is like, you're a phony, and saying that for 30 seconds as a reply. So give me grace. So I'm going to move a little bit on who I'm going to first. So Craig in West Virginia, I'm coming to you first. You're on KDK.
How you doing tonight, Lenny?
I'm doing well, child of God. How are you?
Doing good. You know, I'll make one quick comment, and not to discuss it, but AIPAC has too much money and too much influence. They are buying our politicians, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, there's a lot, but they're not. I don't mind that point of view, but I mean, other people do the same exact thing with their level of influence on Capitol Hill. But I'm not going to go down to Jew conspiracies, and that's where that was going just now.
I agree with you 1,000% on that opinion. You know, you were talking earlier. You know, you're a glass half. I don't know how you and Pratt have. You guys should make a formula and bottle it on how you are so optimistic about the country. I don't know how you guys do it. I truly don't.
I can tell you. I'll tell you very quickly, Craig, is because I know American history.
Well, I ain't buying into that. You know, you could have said that about the Roman Empire, and guess what? History ran out.
Well, no. The Roman Empire wasn't built on quite the same level of empowerment for all different types of citizens, quite the way the United States of America has. And on top of that, you haven't had this constant influx of American culture that was coming in and influencing what American culture was, whereas the Roman culture, generally speaking, took its culture and just said, look, if you're not Roman, I'm killing you. Until towards the very end. Generally speaking, in America, though, it's always been this melting pot of iterations where the culture kept changing. What America meant kept changing. And then we would bicker and fight, and then it would change, and then it would bicker and fight, and it would change. And because of the way the Constitution was created and based on the principles that we've had it just enough leeway to not completely implode permanently over the course of 250 years, unlike the Roman Empire, which was just dominance, and we're going to kill you off, and we're going to take over your land.
You know, I hear you talk about the step stool and the ladder, and I get that, 100% I get that. But I'm a numbers guy, and I always say that on KDK. I'm very seldom an opinion guy. And when you look at a country that is third in wages, we are the third highest paid country in the world, and yet we are 24th in happiness. That tells me something is wrong. When you are the third highest paid country on the planet and you are 27th in education, that tells me the teachers union got too strong. When you are the third highest paid country on the planet and there's no middle class, that tells me that corporate America is corrupt.
No, there's not a middle class everywhere. There used to be more of a middle class in more cities. There's not a middle class by and large in Pittsburgh, but there's middle classes in other cities, including, ironically enough, Chicago, one of the places I wanted to mention.
Well, granted, you can talk about Charlotte, which, you know, I was a North Carolina guy for a while, and listen, that place was rocking and rolling.
It still is.
But the whole state, you know. But my point being is that the happiness part of it is what gets to me the most. I really don't care who's in office, Democrat or Republican. I've said that many, many times. But I do believe that once the horse is out of the barn, you can't get it back in, or the genie out of the bottle, or whichever one of those you want to use. What we have seen with Donald Trump, I have a feeling that the Democrats are going to get to that extreme also. And let's say Donald Trump doesn't do the whole insurrection thing and he does leave. There's still 77 million people that liked what he did, so the next Republican coming is going to have to be a crazy person.
No, he doesn't.
So
he doesn't, Craig. Craig, again, you invalidate the whole history of Jim Crow, where people were literally just snatching people and hanging them from trees, where you literally can walk down the street in the South in the earlier part of the 20th century, and you can see a dead carcass hanging off of a tree. Strange Fruit was a song for a reason. I mean, you had civil rights activists as well as presidential candidates and a president get assassinated in the 1960s, and Americans believed that the best days were behind America in the 1970s, and by the mid-1980s, we were adding 300,000 jobs a month. The black middle class actually grew at the same exact time as the crack epidemic, and we won the Cold War by 1991. So, I mean, that's recent history. So I have a hard time walking away from that, because as you bring these things up about Trump, I say I can point to a worse time in American history not that long ago, and we overcame that.
Let me say this, and I always push back on Chris Moore also. You know, you guys are both African-American, but let me say this. I pulled up and if you would please, just save me 45 seconds for Ronald Reagan before we go. You know, let me say this about the stat I pulled up. I pulled up a stat that it was like the top 25 countries of police officers shooting their citizens. It was like Germany. And this went back to I think it was 2017 until present day. Germany was 385. Luxembourg was 212. And it went down the line. America was 15,008. So whether you're swinging from a tree or shot in the back, what makes the difference? The outcome is the same.
Craig, and I'm going to tell you that back in the 1950s and 1960s, if you look at how many African Americans were owning businesses, if you look at how the average household income of African Americans, if you look at the opportunities that they had, if you look at the political power that they had, you're not going to sit there and tell me it was better in the 1950s and 60s than it is in 2026. I'm not saying that the problems are resolved, Craig, but I'm saying you're not going to tell me that it was better then than it is now.
You are correct. It is better now than it was.
That's my whole point. That's what keeps me optimistic. Go ahead and go to Reagan because I got a full board. I know you want to go to Reagan for 45 seconds.
All right. You made the comment that he was one of your top 3 presidents. Please tell me that you are picking him as one of the top 3 because of his personality and not because of his politics.
I can go into, look, there were things he flubbed. He flubbed even the Cold War. Some of it, he got some of it right, obviously. But the same exact time, if you talk about tone of how he inspired a country starting in 1980 to start turning it around.
I think he was a good guy.
And I don't think he did everything right. I don't think President Obama did everything right. I mean, look, the bottom line is we're still dealing with human beings. So unlike what some people do with political figures, I do not idolize anybody. We're all children of God. We're all falling short of the glory of God, but there are lessons to certainly learn from. And I think one of the things about Reagan that did work in the 1980s was he had an optimism and he projected that in how he spoke, and it did work. Towards starting in 1983, really in 1984, going through the rest of that decade, it worked economically, it worked geopolitically. Now, of course, he had Iran-Contra, but generally speaking, by the time we got to 1991, we had moved from détente to the end of the Soviet Union, and he's going to have fingerprints all over that.
When he cut corporate taxes, that's when we lost our middle class. And the thing of it is that's when jobs started going overseas. And you talked about he won 49 out of 50 states. He didn't win Minnesota. But here's the reality of it. In 83, the RNC had meeting after meeting after meeting to talk him off of running in 84. And the same thing happened with President Biden. But if we're talking about personality or politics, the best president in history would have been Jimmy Carter. Even though his politics were horrible, he was the best human being in office. And that's what I want now is a human being I respect.
But and Craig, I appreciate your phone call, but that's not the best president. I mean, he could have been. I think Jimmy Carter was an excellent man and an excellent Christian, but it doesn't make you the best president. So, no, I'm not buying into that. And I like Jimmy Carter. My parents voted for Carter in 76 and in 80. But no, I'm not. I mean, fulfilling a role is different than being a certain type of person. I mean, Brett Favre was a good quarterback. He threw a lot of interceptions and he was a crook. But if you look at the record books, he was a great NFL quarterback. Doing the job and being a great person are two different, requirements or fulfillments or definitions of who one is or different roles of who one is. Anywho, appreciate your phone calls always. I'm going to get to the phones after the break. I'm going to at this point in time, because I see everybody's going to have a lengthy retort with me. So I'm just going to go back to the order of how they called in. So Bishop, you're next, then Anthony, then Ted, then RJ. Don't go anywhere. I do want to hear from you. It's Lenny McAllister filling in for John and Rachel, which, John and Rachel, they're going to be like, no, what did you do to our show? But hopefully they'll still love me, especially after I come back from the break here on his radio, KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKARadio.com.
Don't delay in getting that plumbing repair done. Call Palucci Plumbing today for all of your plumbing needs. From trenchless sewer repair and waterline repairs and replacement, hot water tanks, sewer camera inspections, to Pittsburgh potty repairs, no job is too small for Palucci Plumbing. Owners Amy and Nick Palucci have been in business for 26 years, so give them a call for your next plumbing repair or replacement. Palucci Plumbing, 412-782-5050. That's 412-782-5050.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Are you smarter than an anchor man? And we have Joe from Penn Hills as a lifeline for me. Joe, what do you like? A, B, C?
Oh, I like the Super Mario. Is that A?
I'm going with you, Joe. You're my lifeline.
The answer was B, Incredibles 2.
Come on, Joe.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real. And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. All across the country, we provide resources and support in the fight against Parkinson's, a neurological disease that affects movement.
The Parkinson's Foundation is dedicated to improving care and advancing research towards a cure.
And when you call our helpline, you'll speak to a real person who can help you find the right information. Because while living with Parkinson's can be challenging, there are things you can do to improve your quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's for years, or caring for a loved one,
When Parkinson's gets real, find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO, 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, now I'm going back to the phone lines right now. Bishop in Denora, you're on KDK.
Well, here comes the second of the four power hitters that you got to tackle. Let me just tell you something, Brother Lenny. One, with Chicago, he can't even handle Iran. He can't even, we lost the war with Iran. Let's go ahead and admit it. And this so-called ceasefire, that ceasefire has been violated. They're over there shooting and bombing right now. I mean, it's pitiful. And we buy this stuff, oh, the ceasefire is still fragile. No, it's not. And then he can't, with Chicago, he would get a rude awakening. And once again, he would threaten, oh, I'm going to blow up the whole city. And all this kind of stuff. Once some of those military personalities get shot or wounded or get killed, I mean, this guy, I mean, come on. It's terrible. And let me just tell you this, Brother Lenny. The Republican Party that you say you still a part of, MAGA, I agree with some of these other commentaries, is nothing but a cult. It is not the Republican Party. You choose to say so-called Republican Party. You know, you are a good brother. I stand with you. I fight for you from here to Alaska. That being said, you need to denounce a lot of this stuff with this cult movement of the so-called...
Hold on. I have been renouncing stuff for well over a decade. My book has very public renunciations in it. There's nobody you know in this region that told a sitting vice president that he was wrong on his approach to how to stem down violence. I did that, and it still lives on the internet. June 2020, I told Mike Pence, who came into the Pittsburgh region and from my place 5 minutes from where I grew up, he went back to law and order. We need law and order. We need law. And we all know that that's coded language from the 1960s, telling protesters to pipe down. And I said this to the Pittsburgh NAACP when I emceed their event a couple of weeks ago, and it's still living on the internet today. I told the sitting vice president of the United States, you're not going to get law and order until you have constitutional law and order, until people that are having their constitutional rights violated on a regular basis can find comfort in the Constitution again. You fight for constitutional law and order, and you'll have your law and order. I basically, to paraphrase, I literally said that to a sitting vice president sitting beside a sitting U.S. senator that were both Republican. Now, before you ever, and I love you as a child of God, but before you ever call in here again, I need you, and I hope you buy the book. I need you to go, hold on, and I appreciate that. I need you to go look at the receipts that are in that book and the receipts I've talked about on this airwaves for quite some time. There is nobody else in this region as a Republican that pushed back on candidate Trump in 2016 on his stance on trying to nationalize stop and frisk. So you have a tendency to call in here and tell me as a Republican that I don't renounce this stuff when I just named one thing from 6 years ago, another thing from 10 years ago, and then at the same exact time I pushed back on a white Democrat that was talking about stop and frisk in the city of Pittsburgh over 10 years ago when he was talking about his stuff. And Democrats didn't like that either. So I renounced this stuff as a Republican. So I'm doing exactly what you think I'm not doing, and I'm doing it as a national voice that's been a national voice for 20 years. So I need you to understand that.
I followed your career a lot.
So then you should know these things.
No, but hold on, Brother Lenny. You don't sound. I got one other point. You don't sound as convincing as Chairman Steele, Tara Schottmeyer, who has left the party. What
more? So let me ask what. Because hold on, Bishop, because I got a question. My question is define convincing, because convincing is now on a scale of subjectivity. I just gave you objective facts, things that genuinely happened, where I stood up to the party. How many people? Let me give you another trivia lesson. When Erica Harold, I will name her name because she's a public figure. When Erica Harold was likened to a prostitute and a streetwalker by Republican officials in Illinois in 2013 because she had the audacity to run for Congress against somebody in the party apparatus, how many people stood up for Erica Harold publicly and forced a resignation? Do you know the answer to that question, Brother Bishop?
Who?
I'm going to give you, it was one person. It was one person. It was me. And you can go look in the Chicago Tribune and the USA Today where that individual was forced to resign. I'm the one that started that. That's in the book as well. And by the way, hold on, because I'm going to hold you after the break because you came for smoke and I got it for you. And when it came to people that said, why are you doing this? One of the people that wanted to know why I was pushing back so hard was the person I was traveling with at that time, and that happened to be the late Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. So, again, before you tell me about you ain't as convincing, it's because I'm not on CNN or MS Now saying what they say or yelling all the time. I love both of those individuals, and Michael Steele wrote one of the forwards for my book. So, and I'll read it to you if you want me to. So, evidently, he thinks I'm doing the work. I'll read the final part of what he said. Literally. I got it right here because I knew you were calling in, Bishop. Michael Steele. His Venn diagram of one reflects what I saw in him and what we all should aspire for, a natural coming together of our values and experience that allows us to keep our communities and our country strong, secure, and successful for generations to come. This book matters because Lenny shows us that we might be different in some ways, but in so many other ways we matter to ourselves and to each other. Many writers put that belief on paper. We need more leaders like Lenny. Let me read this last part again before I go to the news. Many writers put that belief on paper. We need more leaders like Lenny who also bring that belief to life. So even the person you keep quoting to me, Michael Steele, is saying in print that I live out these values. I'll let you retort. I'll get back to the phones, but come on, child of God. I've been living this for 20 years. This ain't an act. This is who I am. But I love you. I love all y'all. And I will continue to love you after the news on News Radio, KDKA.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
Are your property taxes too high? You have from July 1st until September 1st, 2026 to file an appeal of the Allegheny County property tax assessment. Contact Richard Ernsberger at the law firm Barrenden Ernsberger. Call 412-391-2515 for the help you need.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. The U.S. has dispatched search and rescue teams to help in Venezuela after a pair of powerful earthquakes just seconds apart brought buildings to the ground, trapping people inside. ABC foreign correspondent Marcus Moore.
People banding together to help survivors and their families there in Venezuela, and this rescue effort is facing an ongoing threat. There have been more than 400 aftershocks recorded since Wednesday's earthquake. Simon Medina saying he brought gloves and a shovel to search for his very own mother and brother, adding that they go forward with faith. More than 1,400 people have been killed and more than double that injured. And according to a UN official, some 55,000 people are said to be unaccounted for.
At least 4 deaths have been confirmed in widespread flash flooding across Kentucky. ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
Across central and eastern Kentucky, roads remain washed out, trees are down. Governor Andy Beshear is urging people to stay off the roads, off these flooded roads, reminding Kentuckians that driving in these conditions could be life-threatening.
Beshear declaring a statewide emergency. A state of emergency in Utah. At least a dozen new wildfires erupting in the state, forcing evacuations for several new counties. ABC's Melissa Adon.
The fire danger in Utah is rapidly growing. Officials telling people to have their go bags ready because any new wildfire that sparks could be life-threatening as crews are just fanned out across the state.
A flare-up of attacks in and around the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says there were new U.S. attacks on Iran this afternoon. This after a U.S. official says a tanker was hit by an Iranian drone earlier today. Now, this is the second U.S. retaliation for an Iranian attack since the Memorandum of Understanding was signed. On social media, President Trump this evening threatening to militarily complete the job if Iran doesn't stop striking. The government's now allowing Anthropic to release 2 of its most powerful models, this after ordering the company not to release them to foreign countries earlier this month over security fears. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
I've been telling you all about the Secret War on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
Temperatures hit record highs from Switzerland to the Czech Republic and Denmark today as a heat wave that baked Western European countries this week moves to central and eastern parts of the continent. France has been dealing with the deadly heat for days. In Paris, 21-year-old Swiss-American Ulysse Zachary discovered that his tiny rooftop flat was becoming unbearable.
I had to move my bed literally almost outside, like in the window, so I can try to basically sleep outside just to get as much air as possible.
The latest food recall is all that in a bag of chips. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more.
They're a staple of many backyard barbecues, but now Utz is issuing a voluntary recall of Dirty and Zapp's brand potato chips. The Food and Drug Administration says the products might be contaminated with salmonella. Salmonella can be fatal to young children, older adults, and those with weakened immune systems. The recall affects nearly 700,000 bags of chips distributed across 35 states, including New York, California, Florida, and Texas. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
A dangerous close call on a busy Miami runway between an American Airlines plane and a business jet. The business jet crew crossing the same runway as the American Airlines plane.
Just told me to cross the runway, sir.
No, we said American 461.
ATC.com audio, the two planes nearly colliding, coming within about a third of a mile of each other. American Airlines says its crew discontinued its takeoff after seeing another aircraft on that runway. Dave Packer, ABC News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
An evening shower, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 67. Partly sunny tomorrow with a couple of showers, high 81. It turns out clear tomorrow night with areas of fog developing, low 67. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Carl Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right. Bishop, I'm going to allow you to retort, and then I have to move on. Go ahead, sir.
We'll see, and I'm gonna get the book. I hope we do a book signing down where I'm at. Besides what we talked about, but listen here, Brother Lenny. My main thing was Chartiers Valley.
No. You're gonna have to call back tomorrow on Chartiers Valley. I can't. I let you have two topics. If there's a bookstore down your way, I will have a book signing down your way. I will have an event down your way and a book signing down your way. We can do two things down there. I don't care. But I cannot let you go into Chartiers Valley because I kind of know where you're going with that, but now that's too much time. Tomorrow, I promise you, I will take that phone call. Appreciate you as always. Next on the list, appreciate his patience as well, Anthony from Oakland. You are now on KDK.
You know, James Carville has finally said what I've been saying for years, that these folks who call themselves democratic socialists are not Democrats. It's finally been exposed. I mean, these people, I go back a long way in politics. These folks are nothing but the Ralph Nader's Lyndon LaRoche. That's who they are. So they're trying to hijack the party during the primary process because a lot of people don't participate to their own demise.
Oh, they're not trying. They have hijacked it. They have found a way to do it. I mean, again, Summer Lee is in office because of doing it. Sarah Innamorato is in office because of doing it just here. And other places, you've seen the same exact thing. And now what they've learned, Anthony, is the fact that you can kind of wear the label for a little longer than you used to. Before it was like you wear the label to get the money, and then as you got closer, like, no, I'm not part of DSA. I was just kidding. Now it's like, oh, I can win with DSA? Yeah. Why would I walk away from them? And that's what's happening now, especially with Mondami up in New York. It's gone full time, if you will.
What everyone was going to be off his road as soon as the corporations leave, because that's what's going to happen. And when the landlords leave and go up north of New York, where they don't have to put up with this nonsense about freezing rents and all this other crazy, bizarro stuff, rent and health care for illegals, decriminalizing hookers. I mean, these people are insane. They're literally insane. and they're not part of our party. And I said this for years. Bernie Sanders is never a Democrat. Everybody go online. He's an independent. He only hijacks our party when it's useful to him.
Primarily for running for president.
Right. So people, quit being so ignorant. These things that you are in control of, because here's what's happening. The Rust Belt is losing, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is too. We're too high of a state. Our taxes are entirely too high. We have a population decline through the whole Rust Belt. California now, New York, Illinois. Why is that? Seattle. The new mayor of Seattle has driven out some of the biggest corporations in that whole state of Washington. These people, see, folks, they think your tax dollars are monopoly money. They don't live in the real world.
Well, it's not even that, Anthony. They and this is what Allegheny County misses. This is what the city of Pittsburgh has missed, and this is what the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has missed. But Allegheny County is suffering it right now because they're talking about pensions and raising even more taxes, and they're talking about expanding staffs and raising even more taxes. They act as though jobs can't move. Employers won't move. I mean, that's what they miss. Employers go to where it's beneficial for them. Yes, there is some history that comes into there. But here, and I'm going to use this as an example that should make you laugh, but you'll get my point. You're a sports guy, and I know you are. People were like, they'll never allow Heinz Field to be named Acrisure. What's an Acrisure? It'll always be Heinz Field. Anthony, where do the Steelers play these days?
Well, they play at Acrisure.
Because businesses can move. Businesses make decisions based on business. And if that means moving across a county border or moving across a state border, or in some instances, moving out of a country, they will do that for the best interest of their stakeholders, i.e. the people involved in their business. That's just how it rolls.
Well, all these politicians in the Rust Belt have done is allow the southern states to just grow. A lot of them are right-to-work states.
Yes, they are.
Low taxes. They primarily are sales tax states.
And the school systems are not as unionized as they are in Ohio, in Jersey, in Pennsylvania, in New York, and Michigan.
Shapiro, I thought he was going to do well until when he wanted to have, as you know, that big issue that you're always on, privatizing a lot of the schools. He decided that Philadelphia enclave had his ear and said, "No, you're not going to do that." And the teachers' union told him no, and he went right into his little shell. No, you're supposed to stand up to them because you should be concerned about the young children in Philadelphia who can't spell cat if you give them a C and a T.
But you know what that is, Anthony? I appreciate your phone call. The phone lines are lining up. The bottom line is there's a difference between being a leading politician for votes and being a leader for a society. There's a difference between being beloved on social media and being appreciated as a leader. And most people are focused on the former, not the latter. We need leaders that are just going to be appreciated for the good work that they do, that may never be popular on social media, may never be the top vote getters in the history of a commonwealth or a country or a county or a city. But man, 20 years from now, you're like, man, they really turned this around. They did some tough things. No one cares about doing that anymore. That's why you got the problems you have. Ross, I'm going to give you a second bite of the apple because you said you're going to be quick. Be quick, kind sir.
As demonstrated with your argument with Bishop, some of us regular callers suffer from, since he invoked the name of a recently retired, admirable award-winning host, which taught us, don't be hard of listening. I'll give you, I'm a rhino. I've been one since before Clinton secured his second term. Grew up in a Democratic steelworkers house. One day doing homework after my mom told her, he asked one question. Do you know what you're doing? Yeah, I got it. I try to be informed. Don't be hard of listening. It'll be easier when your host challenges you.
Appreciate the call, Ross. I'm going to go back to the phones. Ted, Mount Washington. You're on KDK.
What's going on, Lenny?
Hey, child of God.
Hey, like my dad said, concrete's undefeated. But
I know.
But I'm gonna give you your flowers now, brother. We are appreciative to have you in Pittsburgh. You can go anywhere in the world. You give an outside perspective, and you just do it with so much intelligence and grace. We're very lucky, and KDK is very lucky to have you here. Ted, and I know you can go anywhere in the world.
Ted, number one, I appreciate that. Number two, I want to say this in response to you saying that, which is this. There is nothing more that I want to do than to optimize whatever I can provide for a region that I grew up in that I love. Now, that means some harsh critique sometimes. That means some tough love sometimes, but it means love. And love is service, and love is giving, and love is partnership. And there's nothing more that I want to do at this point in time in my life than fulfill whatever I can do to make this place better with whatever contribution I can make. So thank you for saying that.
Well, I mean, you got a little bomb in you. You can tell somebody to go to hell and they'll like it. So
I wasn't saying that, but I take what you're saying as a compliment. So thank you.
But real quick, one thing, Rob Nader's not a socialist. So I mean, it's.
I think he was saying more along the lines of
Bernie Sanders.
Well, not necessarily DSA Bernie Sanders, but more along the lines of a very out of the mainstream political mindset with a different set of goals and approaches. I took what Anthony was saying in that vein, because when you put Ralph Nader and Bernie Sanders together, politically they're not coming from the same space per se. I think that's where he was coming from.
Absolutely, no, they're not. But if you remember Reagan said that the right has to know what the far right is doing.
Yeah.
Remember he said that? Okay. Every party needs discipline. And unfortunately, you don't have it on the right or you don't have it on the left, and you have extremes on both ends. Now, I'll tell you like a little socialist joke. If your wife told you to take out the trash, is she harming you? Is she taking advantage of you?
I would say no.
Okay. Well, you're social. You say, yeah, I'm being oppressed.
Wow.
So, well, I mean, that's how they think. They that's their whole shtick, man. That's their whole shtick.
Well, but also they also have a fundamental disagreement with the idea that capitalism could have benefits for greater society, that a free market system can have benefits for a greater society, that you can do it the right way, that there are instances where privately owned organizations treat their employees well, take care of their workers, and still make a good profit and can build a business over years. They would tell you that that's either it doesn't happen or it's so rare that you can't really count it. And the first thing I say to people that say that is I used to interact with people like that, family-owned businesses that did just that had factories and businesses that have been around Pennsylvania for upwards of 100 years doing that very thing, that never had to unionize or never had to go down that path because they knew what the formula was for success, and they did it where it was mutually beneficial for worker and business owner alike.
Well, I'll give you Milton Friedman. Are there greedy socialists?
Yes.
Are socialists greedy?
We have seen socialism go off the rails. So if you're trying to say, I mean, this is where they missed the point too, Ted. If you're trying to say that socialism's going to take away human nature, I mean, human nature will take advantage of any system anywhere. And in fact, what people miss is the fact that when you have free markets, you're trying to put controls on that by making people's self-interest play against each other to keep people with, and this goes back to what you said earlier, within some type of parameters of discipline. one would like to think that in a democratic republic and in a form of government such as ours, you can do the same thing. Kind of also goes back to what you said. When you don't have discipline, however, things go off the rails very quickly. It makes, I mean, that's where we are these days. And is there a way to get it back? Yes, but that's where we are now.
Well, I believe in individual freedom, not the state over the individual. We don't have, who's these guardian angels who are going to make these decisions? I trust myself. I just don't trust, the government to that extent.
We're not supposed to. And we're not supposed to. So hold on, Ted. I'm going to keep you on because I know you want to make a point about minimum wage. I'll get to you. I'll get to RJ. I'll get to TJ. I'll get to anybody else that has any type of two-letter acronyms for their names or anything else along those lines after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to talk, we're here for you. Always have been. News Radio KDKA.
Tickets for Kids will host the Dress Big Happy Hour on Wednesday, July 22nd from 4 to 7 p.m. in the Casamigos Club at PPG Paints Arena. Join sports celebrities and TFK's friends from the ticketing, nonprofit, corporate, and foundation communities for a silent auction, hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and the chance to play carnival games on the arena floor. For tickets, go to the events link at ticketsforkids.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at KennyRoss.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, Ted, finish your point. So I got to go. Finish your point. I know you want to say something.
Real quick, I'm going to take the minimum wage for later. Hey, speaking of National Guard, you're 1,000% right on Chicago. Colin don't know what you're talking about. You're like a washed-up Beastie Boy. But
I'm not taking shots on that. That's not
Oh,
cool.
no, you don't have to. I saw that mug, man. He's terrible. But,
I like Colin. Colin's my dude, but he doesn't get the whole National Guard thing in Chicago, and it's very easy to say, well, they're willing to help. Why wouldn't you take the help? It's like, well, there's a lot of complicating factors that date back 60-plus years.
Well, put it this way. I'll make it even simpler. Who put the National Guard in the subway in New York? Was it Trump? Remember the National Guard? They had to put the National Guard in the New York subways because all the assaults and everything else happened. Who did that?
I remember that. Who was the president that did that?
No. It was the governor. Who's the governor that did that?
Oh,
Kathy.
Oh, Hochul.
You doggone right.
And
did
they
it
don't
work?
Yeah. See, exactly. On top of that, here's the thing, though. My point is this, and I'm going to have to let you go because I got other callers calling in. And, Ted, we can talk about this more tomorrow. My point with Chicago is this. You have a mayoral administration that's not really fixing the problem. You have a gubernatorial administration in Pritzker that's focused on trying to be a contrast to run for 2028 that doesn't really understand that issue. And you know that the Trump administration is not good with subtleties. And you have some of the most organized gangs in the United States in the south and west sides of Chicago. You would bring in the National Guard. The Trump administration would try to big boy his way in there. The mayoral administration would push back. The gubernatorial administration would push back differently than the mayoral administration. So you got three different angles going on. You'll have aldermen trying to angle, and you would end up getting National Guardsmen ambushed. And then it would just become an urban war zone. That's my concern. Because nobody's going in there to try to fix the problem that's been there for 60 plus years. It's the freaking town of Al Capone. There have been gangs there. There have been Asian gangs and Latino gangs and black gangs. Forever. Almost. Are you going to fix the gang problem or just the shooting on the south and west side? And then who do you go after? Do you know who you should be going after? I mean, remember when the Trump administration used to talk about the Latin Kings all the time? Or whatever gang they wanted to mention, but they didn't really understand the issue, but they knew how to throw out that term? You can't do that on the south side of Chicago. You got to understand the issue. Again, I'm a guy that was a black Republican that got protection from some of those gangs when I would walk at 1 o'clock in the morning, leaving a tea party, no less. Just as much as I would get some protection from the Nation of Islam, walking those same streets at 5 o'clock in the morning or 11:45 at night. Because there was a level of respect and understanding and trying to heal the things in a way that respected the history. Nobody would take the National Guard into Chicago right now and try to fix the problem long term. It would just be, I'm going to pound the desk and say, this is how it's going to be. And if you don't like it, that's that. That ain't going to fix it. That will get a lot more people killed. And I'm not saying it's okay for some people to get killed. It's not. I literally lived on the south side of Chicago, and there was a point of time where I had to literally stand over my 1-year-old because there was so much gunfire around us on a certain night that I had to literally stand there and say, if anybody's going to catch a bullet today, it's going to be me. And I put him low, and I stood over him, fully expecting to get shot by a stray. So I'm not saying this as somebody that's flippantly saying, I hate Trump. We can't have Trump. This is not an anti-Trump position. People talking about the National Guard going into Chicago is something that people have brought up from time to time over the course of, 30 years? Since Beirut on the lake, that's what Chicago used to be called. In the 80s, when Harold Washington was the mayor. So it's deeper than that. I'm going to go to break early. Then I'm going to go to RJ, TJ, Deacon. So just be ready. I'm going immediately to the phone lines. I'm going to knock out this last half an hour, but I'm going to go to the news now so I can give you a little bit more time to talk. News next, 866-391-1020. More phone calls afterwards on News Radio KDKA.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
There's a world of opportunity out there, beyond the typical 9 to 5, where purpose and grit come together, where the American spirit and ingenuity are welcomed in places that could really use your skills and your experience. We're talking about the Peace Corps, with volunteers living and working in communities around the globe. And it's been called the toughest job you'll ever love. Tough, because it asks so much of you. To dig deeper, get your hands dirty, to go that extra mile, to rise to the occasion and meet challenges head on. And the love part comes from being part of something bigger than yourself, from building bonds that last a lifetime. It's knowing your hard work transformed lives, including your own. After 65 years, the Peace Corps is still the toughest job you'll ever love. Explore opportunities in more than 60 countries. Learn about benefits and apply at peacecorps.gov/serve.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
It's Marty Griffin. I have seen so much anger these days. You know what's overwhelmed me with joy and optimism? This Get Marty. The folks in this community that have stepped up. You can't help your neighbor if you hate your neighbor. Get Marty epitomizes that opportunity to help people, feed people, clothe people, educate people. If you need me, get Marty at KDKRadio.com. It's where we will find a way to help you.
Presented by UPMC Health System, Phil DeLuceni and Associates, Cousins Roofing, Siding and Decks, and by Harold Shepley and Associates.
The Colorectal Cancer Alliance wants you to know a lot of things in life are preventable. Ooh, gas station sushi. That's preventable. And even colon cancer can be preventable if you get screened. If you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor. Go to colorectalcancer.org to learn more.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. The U.S. has dispatched search and rescue teams to help in Venezuela after a pair of powerful earthquakes just seconds apart brought buildings to the ground, trapping people inside. Caracas-based journalist Tony Frangi Mawad.
Despite the institutional absence that we've seen, people have actually managed to organize relief centers, to organize campaigns, to organize distribution networks, and mobilize to the most affected areas to help those in need.
More than 1,400 people have been killed and more than double that injured. And according to a UN official, some 55,000 people are said to be unaccounted for. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear confirming there have been 4 deaths in the widespread flash flooding across that state. A state of emergency in Utah. At least a dozen new wildfires erupting in the state, forcing evacuations for several new counties. CENTCOM says there were new U.S. attacks on Iran this afternoon. This after a U.S. official says a tanker was hit by an Iranian drone earlier today. This is ABC News.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be artists, prom dates, world travelers, and moms. We are Blood Cancer United, the world's leading organization focused solely on blood cancer research, support, and advocacy. We do the most for more people with blood cancer, so people with blood cancer can do more of whatever they want. Blood Cancer United. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
There's a world of opportunity out there, beyond the typical 9 to 5, where purpose and grit come together, where the American spirit and ingenuity are welcomed in places that could really use your skills and your experience. We're talking about the Peace Corps, with volunteers living and working in communities around the globe. And it's been called the toughest job you'll ever love. Tough, because it asks so much of you. To dig deeper, get your hands dirty, to go that extra mile, to rise to the occasion and meet challenges head on. And the love part comes from being part of something bigger than yourself, from building bonds that last a lifetime. It's knowing your hard work transformed lives, including your own. After 65 years, the Peace Corps is still the toughest job you'll ever love. Explore opportunities in more than 60 countries. Learn about benefits and apply at peacecorps.gov/serve.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A shower around early, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 67. Clouds and sunshine tomorrow with a shower or two, high 81. Clear tomorrow night with areas of fog developing, low 67. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Carl Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, I'll be back in Monday. Yep. On the morning show, Big K Morning Show. Colin Dunlap with you Monday morning. Can't wait to start the week off right. 5:40 until 10 a.m. on Monday, right here, KDK.
All right, like I said, I'm going to go back to the phone lines right now, 866-391-1020. And like I said, before I go to the phone lines, I will be here on Monday with Colin for the Big K Morning Show. Larry's on vacation. God bless him for that. I hope he has a wonderful time. But I will be here with Colin 8 to 9 on Monday morning here on the Big K Morning Show. And that's, of course, after I'm here 2 to 6 tomorrow on my own show. Back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. RJ, thank you for your patience. You're on KDK.
Hey there, Brother Lenny. Hope you're having a nice day.
How are you doing today, child of God?
I'm good, thank you. I hear this term thrown out, middle class, and I did a little research here before the break. So what is middle class? I want to get some definition on what that is. I hear this thrown around all the time. I'm just going to cite a couple of things that I found that I will take with a grain of salt when you look it up on the internet. There's roughly 335 million people in America. There's only about 140 million that work full-time that are over the age of 16. So if you look at median income for an individual, it's $45,000. Half make more, half make less. That's full-time workers. If you look at an individual on the average, it's $67,000. I just want to know what middle class is, because I hear the middle class has been destroyed to some way, shape, or form. But what is middle class? Because if you look at people that make $100,000 or more a year, it's about 17%. If you look at it's 2% at $400,000 or more that gets you in what people would consider the richest. But what is middle class? Because if you drive through all these neighborhoods in Pittsburgh, or I'll say Allegheny County, not all of them, that's not fair. Well, all these neighborhoods are middle class. So I'm so confused on what people consider to be middle class. And that term is thrown around so much. I'm just looking for a little clearer definition, because it seems like almost everybody's middle class. They fall in the middle.
Well, here's how I define middle class, RJ. Middle class includes the ability to pursue and within a relatively a relatively appropriate period of time, you're able to be a homeowner. Middle class includes the ability to get your children through adequate education that allows them to be empowered to find work and be self-sufficient throughout life. Middle class provides people an affordable way to have health care that will allow them to stay healthy and continue to allow American life expectancy to grow as it has over the course of the last several decades. Middle class is the existence of living in a community where your physical safety is not at risk as much as it could be in lower class neighborhoods, and your ability to grow your generational wealth for future generations is viable by way of expanding your career, expanding opportunities for you and your children, and subsequently being able to show them different experiences, whether that ends up being a annual family vacation or different extracurricular activities that enriches them so that they can live the next best iteration of the American dream in your household. Now, when you take that definition, there are more and more Americans that don't have access to many or all of those things. Even if you're making $100,000 a year, if you're making $100,000 a year in California, you're not buying a home with that. If the cost of buying a home, even in Pittsburgh, I mean, I saw a report where they were talking about how the average home purchase in Pittsburgh is going further and further towards well over $100,000 a property. Now, if you're talking about buying a home in Pittsburgh for $65,000 a year, you're not buying much, and you're not buying it in a good neighborhood, and you're probably buying a home that's 90 years old that needs repairs. If you're talking about your kids going to school, unless if you live in a certain type of quote-unquote middle-class neighborhood, your kids are probably in schools that are underperforming. I mean, Penn Hills, where I grew up, used to be a middle-class neighborhood. And some people would still say, look at the income. Maybe it is still middle class, but people would not consider growing up and living in Penn Hills being as middle class as it was 30 years ago. So I know that's a long way of answering your question, but that's kind of where I would go.
Okay, so what would be middle class in Allegheny County? I'm just curious because, I live in a neighborhood. I'm not going to lie to you. I've done very well financially, but I think my neighborhood's middle class. I just didn't get a different house because I'm a single guy. But what's a middle class neighborhood in Allegheny County? And then let me ask this question. What's a middle class neighborhood in the city of Pittsburgh? Where do people fit in? Because it doesn't seem like it's Shady Side and Lawrenceville's gotten quite uppity in one way, shape, or form. But where are they? This is the thing I have a hard time with. I understand what you're saying. You want your kids to do better than you did. That's the ultimate goal. Put them in a better position. And I would also go back and say, if you made $100,000 in 1980, 1985, you were rich. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you were. Yeah. Now, if you make 100.
To your point, yes, I agree. And I didn't mean to cut you off, RJ, but yeah, you're right. Now, let me answer these two questions, and I'm going to have to let you go, unfortunately, because I'm starting to run out of time with the show. One, I appreciate your call. Number two, I mean, if you look in the city of Pittsburgh, are there as many middle-class communities where those things are transpiring, where the things that I laid out for what a middle class looks like you can do? Not as much. Now, I would say, and again, I appreciate your call, I would say that, you look at communities like, you look at northern Allegheny County, eastern Allegheny County. There are some communities there, these municipalities, where people can still feel comfortable sending their kids to the local public school, still feel as though their kids can go play out in the street and be safe. They feel as though that they can take that family vacation and it won't overburden the family. And they feel as though that their kids can have the next iteration of the American dream. But to the point that people are making, there used to be more of those communities around nationally. They're just not. They are shrinking. And then in a place like Pittsburgh, if you look at other areas, you used to be able to see a middle class that looked like that, like you do in Atlanta, like you do in Charlotte, that are full of African Americans and Latino Americans and Asian Americans, where there are pockets of cultural richness that also share a growing middle class that allows some to grow to the upper middle class aspects or strata, if you will, in a society that then allows them to continue to grow and build out the benefits that a community can leverage. We don't have that as much in the city of Pittsburgh or in Allegheny County. In fact, I would say that a lot of the middle class folks that used to live in Allegheny County now live in Butler County or in Westmoreland County or in Fayette County because of taxes and because of the administration of government. But that's my analysis of it. 866-391-1020. TJ and Carrick, kind sir, you were on KDKA.
Real quick from what you guys were just talking about, I have my own business for 37 years. What I notice is of not just out-of-towners or people from other states buying property up in the city of Pittsburgh, what's happened now is people in other countries are buying up properties in the United States, check this out, and I know this for a fact, they're buying up the houses and they're turning the houses into government housing in our communities. And the government is paying foreigners from other countries using our tax money to give them buku bucks to rent this out to government-subsidized housing. It is absurd. I can't believe what's going on. And that's why we have a shortage of houses, and that's why a lot of people leave also. That's the real story. But I'm glad that what I'm calling for is what Anthony was talking about, what you were talking about, is the Democrat Party. And I think what really woke up the Democrat Party to what's happening to the Democrat Party is what happened in New York with Mamdani candidates winning, the socialists winning. They've hijacked the Democrat. You guys use the word hijack. They hijacked the socialist, communist. They hijacked the party a long time ago, but a lot of people are just seeing it for some reason now. Hopefully it's enough Democrats to come over to the Republican side, to come over to the more conservative, patriotic side of our country.
Yeah, but there's a hold on. Tariffs, again, tariffs are not conservative values. And being extra constitutional is not exactly conservative values either. So part of the point that was brought up is that you got extremes on both sides that do not live up to the traditional values of what those parties used to stand up for. Now, whether it's the far left and what you're seeing with the expansion of government that sometimes drives businesses out of regions on the left, or on the right where people are saying, hey, tariffs are going to bring back jobs, and it's yet to do that over 18 months. On the right, there is a lack of philosophical discipline that people can count on and drive through policies that will work for people in the long term, not over 90 days, not over 60 days, in the long term.
Hey, real quick, I got to tell you this. I'm going to get back. Tariffs, for one thing, is very conservative. You tariff us, we tariff you.
No. That's retaliatory. That's retaliatory. That's not tariff, and it's acting as if that two countries are coming into it.
Getting even.
Well, and that's the problem, TJ, and that's the reason why we only added. And I appreciate your call as always. That's the reason why we only added 10,000 jobs throughout 2025. It's eye for an eye so that everybody's blind. That's not how leadership works. Bullying works that way, but not leadership. But I always appreciate your phone call. 866-391-1020. Deacon in Dormont, you're KDK.
Yeah, TJ doesn't understand tariffs.
No, he understands he understands the retaliatory aspect of tariffs, but we're ignoring. There's an ignorance or a pushing aside of the results of those actions. But go ahead.
The tariffs are a tax on us, the American consumer. We pay that. Businesses pay that. The foreign entity doesn't pay that. Anyhow, that's either. I like your show, but you're up against Rhett Weatherspoon and the Blues, so you got a tough act. You got a tough competition. Anyhow. I attempted to talk about Sam Melita and the Haitian temporary protection status. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to give it something more. Actually, another comment about TJ. I don't have to look left and right, or right. And I'm quoting. I forget who I'm quoting. To see who has a foot on my neck, I just have to look up. It's left, right, back, left. Come on. Use your head. But that's another story. I'm going to leave this for tomorrow because there's probably not enough time to get into it. And I mentioned a couple weeks ago, and I actually talked to Brendan briefly about it. The Department of Aging, the county and state oversight of it, and seniors. And there's a follow-up in this week, actually, where the Superior there was a IG study of the Department of Aging, and the Superior Administration buried the study for 2 years. And it's recently, and I think it's for Freedom of Information Act. It's recently, the information has surfaced. There's an issue there. I could tell you, but I won't get a personal experience, but I could tell you kind of what happens when you're in that situation and what can go wrong, and more often than not goes wrong, and what you got to do to overcome it, because it's not easy.
Well, how about this, Deacon? I'm gonna let you go. I'll be here from 2 to 6. Call me back so you have more time to actually talk about that. That's what I like for you to do. I'm glad that Brandon brought it up. Brandon's good at these things. We all are, but I know that Brandon is, but with his role at the PG, these are the type of things he digs into and writes his op-eds, his editorials on, so it's kind of cool. Call back tomorrow, please. I'll be here from 2 to 6. One more phone call, and then I'm going to probably try to wrap up the show and get out of here. David in San Francisco, you are the last caller. You're on KDKA.
Oh, thanks, Lenny. Yeah, I was kind of interested in the last couple of calls about the standard of living. I'm a baby boomer, and so when I think of the standard of living, I think that a minimum wage should be able to buy an ounce of gold in 20 hours. That was what it was like in 1968. An ounce of gold, minimum wage was $1.60, and an ounce of gold was $32. And you could buy an ounce of gold at minimum wage in 32 hours. 20 hours. So now, if you look at the ounce of gold, and it's $4,096, and 20 divide that by 20, you're going to get a $204 an hour minimum wage. And you might think that's crazy.
Right? How much a minimum? How much is a minimum wage again?
Well, just take the ounce of gold divided by 20.
Which you said was what?
$4,096 right now, and divide that by 20, you're going to get a $204 an hour minimum wage.
So you think that the minimum wage should be? You think that the minimum wage should be $204 an hour?
Yeah, and you think about what it takes.
David, listen. Come on. Again, and as I've mentioned to you before, the Chinese market was closed. The Soviet Union was closed. Half of Germany didn't exist. Europe was still rebuilding, and so was Japan in 1968. You did not have the economic competitors in the global market than you have now. Hell, even if you look at the United States, there were many different types of Americans that weren't even in the workforce back then. You had African Americans that could not compete in the workforce at the same exact clip. You couldn't even have women that can get their own credit cards back then. But you wanted to base it off the economy and society of 1968.
Well, if you look at what you were just describing, can the Chinese afford to buy the things that they're making us? They're making pennies an hour. I think 9 cents an hour.
Some of them.
When the Supreme Court.
Some of them. Not all of them.
Well, the biggest part of them. You cannot buy the things. That's what a sweatshop economy is about.
I got that, and they also very much have a K-shaped economy, but it's driven that way by their government, versus ours that's supposed to be a free market-based economy that ended up being a K-shaped economy because of the economic policies that are there. But I digress. You moved away from my question, which is you're trying to make the case for a $200 plus minimum wage. And I just listed all these different societal factors, both domestically and internationally, that were not the case in 1968. And you're basically trying to make the case that, well, we should probably still do that as a minimum wage. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the jobs in Pittsburgh got sent to China, and they paid them 9 cents, 20 cents.
I'm aware of that, and Dave, and I appreciate your call because I'm about to end the show, and we can talk to more about this. I'm not saying that the minimum wage should stay where it is. I do think that that's a mistake. And by the way, I've talked about that for years too. I don't know if a minimum wage should be $30 an hour or $20 an hour like some have suggested. I don't know if you can chain it to inflation as rapidly as some have proposed. But I don't think that just keeping it at $7.50 an hour is the right way to go. And I get the point that there are plenty of people that are not working at that rate already because the businesses that hire folks do not hire people at that rate. But I also understand that it's 2026. And one, you could shift the minimum wage. But number two, and I've said this repeatedly, it's funny because Craig remembers the analogy. We have step stools in our economy where we need ladders of success again. We have not built pathways for people to climb and be successful. And as a result, the focus is on trying to make the step stool as high as possible. It's the same thing with affordable housing. I want people to not always be in apartments. I want them to be able to buy homes. And even if they buy a home that may not be worth $500,000, I want them to buy a home that they can be comfortable in and not get shot up in. That their kids can go to a decent school or have a pathway to go to a decent school. We need to stop thinking about building step stools that are just taller and start building ladders of success again where people can climb and find the level at which they want to rest and build from there. That's the focus, not just let's increase minimum wage. You can do two things at once. But if you just increase the minimum wage and you do not build other jobs and other opportunities, you have failed your electorate. Which, by the way, many politicians across our country have failed their electorate, but we won't get into that because it's time to go. In the meanwhile, as always, I appreciate you all's phone calls. I always enjoy my time with you. I enjoy it so much that I will be back here in roughly 16 hours, spending more time with you, taking more phone calls at 866-391-1020. I will talk about the latest in politics and current events. I will talk about America 250. I will talk about an honor that I got over the course of the last couple of days and what it means to me. And I will talk about everything coming up this